Wildcall Acres, just getting ready for fall deer opener. It's currently the last week of August, and just kind of getting ready for the first week of October. So we're in a beautiful land use permit spot, just over this particular area. It's just over about 30-35 acres. Swampy, boggy, but it's nice, real easy to track deer. Already some sign, some paths. So I'm just going to walk you through just a couple of key points, just some considerations when clearing the area, and where to put a tree stand. All right, as you can see, it's a pretty desirable location. Now the one thing is, as I'm walking in and just walking through the bog spots, I'm trying to make sure that wherever I decide to put the stand, definitely showing some significant sign of deer tracks. In this particular location, the tracks are they're really going everywhere. So a couple spots to think about. So from a plot perspective, please make sure you check with your local regulations to make sure you can actually put feed or attractant down. We're fortunate that we actually can. So there's an opening in the clearing right here. A couple things I want to consider is a good line of sight for the camera. I really like finding spots that have deadfalls where the trees are broken off and leave a stump, and that's where I'll put a salt lick or a mineral block, and then just let it soak into the tree. And a couple other spots that we have, even if there's no feed or mineral blocks all year, we got them on camera just gnawing at the bottom of the bark, and it just keeps them coming right back and puts those minerals back in the ground, so that's awesome. Over here, just an opening where we're going to put some attractant down. We'll probably use Big and J's, and then a local feed mill molasses corn blend. Now, one thing that sometimes is an oversight, people get excited, they come into an area and they just clear a whole bunch of spots to get a shooting lane. But what they forget to do is, in some cases, you would take down a tree like this. Obviously, you want to make sure that the landowner is okay with you taking down a small sapling like that. That's the first consideration, and if it's public land, you also want to be conscious of that as well. But in this particular case, I need a licking branch. So one thing I can tell you is the tracks that I have showing significant signs of bucks. The height off the ground, talking about 5 feet, anywhere between 4.5 and 6 feet actually, and those fringe leaves, I really want to leave those. So once I've got feed and attractant here, I've got a nice tree where I can foster a deer rub. I've got actually a couple of little trees, and then on the edges I've got small trees as well, but this one here is kind of paramount. I'm right-handed, so when I use my bow, I'm always pulling 45 degrees to the left, and from that plot you can see stands up top. Make sure your stand is safe, make sure you got a good base, make sure you check it every year, all your straps, all your mounts, clips, bolts, everything you can. You always want to make sure that that stand is strong and safe. Please don't forget your 5-point harnesses. Too many times, you hear some horrific stories, somebody falling out of a tree. Also make sure that there's no impeding branches as you're going up the tree stand. You just want to make sure that you don't catch them in your clothes, trip and fall, something to that effect. And then what I'll most likely do is I'll probably put a 2-point articulating arm at the top just to hang a bag and hang my bow. So that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Some considerations. The other last thing that I do is I traditionally, if it's a new spot and I don't know the area, or if it's a spot that I'm comfortable to lend out to a friend, a family member, somebody else, just kind of introduce into the hunt season to help with the gauge, what I traditionally will do is I throw a marker on a tree at 20 yards. And the reason I do that is if you're new to this, if you're new to hunting, new to bow hunting, or you transition from rifle to bow, it's kind of difficult to gauge. Once you're in that tree stand and your adrenaline's pumping, you need to make sure that you make a good ethical shot. In order to do that, always know your range, always know your distance, pick your target, and then gently squeeze. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and I want to make sure that you guys are all safe this year. Good luck, and from Wildcall Acres, live wild.